Hey there, folks. Welcome to the edition of Stranger in a Southern Land. I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning. Today on the program, I speak with Charlotte artist David French, also disc golf enthusiast David French. I sit down with David in his home studio, which is slightly busier than my home studio that I'm in right now cutting this intro. There's a little bit of like sanding and work going on in the background at the very beginning of this podcast. But of course, that kind of fades away as the content of this conversation gets turned all the way up. And boy, was this a fantastic conversation. And I had no doubt about that. Dave, you know, he's a very interesting individual and fantastic art. To actually have some of his art hanging up in my living room right now, and that's part of the reason why I really want to sit down and talk with him about, you know, why and how he became an artist and why Charlotte, North Carolina is, I guess, kind of what you would call his muse in a sense. It's something that he gets commissioned to paint a lot and create art for. Of course, he's got some other pieces that are quite interesting. He's got a Monopoly painting of Star Wars, a Star Wars Monopoly themed painting that you could see on this podcast. But of course, you know, this is an audio and a visual podcast. So there's a lot of visual things that go on in this podcast. So I highly recommend that maybe you go check out the video portion of this podcast. But if not, I don't think it kind of takes away from this conversation, which Dave was prepared for because he formed a list of stories he wanted to tell. So he was very excited and very prepared, far more prepared than I was for this podcast. So very excited to bring this podcast to you guys today. But as always, I'm very excited to let you guys know that I'm a part of the Shining Wizards Podcast Network. I can't thank them enough for all the hard work that they do getting this podcast out to as many earbuds and eyeballs and earballs, whichever is going out there. They're getting it out to everybody. That's how hard the Shining Wizards Network is working these days to getting this out to as many people as possible. And I can't thank them enough for all the hard work they do for me, and I appreciate them. And make sure you appreciate them by logging on to shiningwizardsnetwork.com. Also, too big thank you to my producer Don at dsct.tv for all the hard work that he does. I really appreciate it. I also have another podcast with Don called How to This Get Booked. So thank you very much, Don, for all the hard work that you do, and make sure you check him out and support him and all of his other podcasts as well. Also, too, guys, I got some dates coming up. I just want to spit to you guys real quickly. I'm trying to condense the dates section of the intro because I know it bogs things down and makes these intros go very long. So I've only limited it to 4 this week, and I'll have another set, probably a whole different 4 next week to present to you guys. So I'm trying to narrow this down, get through the intros as quick as possible because, hey, I don't want to be talking forever. I want to get to the conversation. So let's just jump into these dates right now. Most notably, this Saturday, October the 2nd, I'll be wrestling for PWX Wrestling in Hickory, North Carolina. For more information about that show, make sure you log on to pwxpro.com. Now, on Monday, October the 24th, I'll be performing at the Station. I will be the featured performer for that night. I will be doing 30 minutes for the first time in my comedy career, so I highly recommend that you show up to the Station in Plaza Midwood. For more information about that show, make sure you log on to facebook.com and look up Monstrous Comedy. Now, Friday, October the 28th, I'll be returning to Clive, Iowa, and the Pro Wrestling Revolver. For more information about that show, make sure you log on to ProWrestlingRevolver.com. And then Saturday, October the 29th, I'll be making my way to Sterling, Illinois for Funky Monkey Wrestling, and I believe it is funkymonkeywrestling.com. And then Tuesday, November the 8th, like I said, that is election night, and that is when I'm going to be running the next All Organic Open Mic, which is the featured performer for that evening will be Tom Simmons. So make sure you show up to that, and make sure you log on to eveningmuse.com for more information about that show. Now, as always, I got a lot of other dates and a lot of things that come up last minute, but I do have a lot of other dates other than that, but those are the ones I want to get to because I want to get to this conversation. But if you're really intrigued on what I'm doing and want to come to see me in your area, because I'm going to be covering a lot of ground. I'll be covering, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, and pretty much everywhere in between. And of course, North Carolina, as always, and even South Carolina, if they allow me in their state. So, like I said, shows come up all the time. Make sure you check me out on Twitter at ManScoutManning and on Instagram at ManScoutManning. Or if you have a question about this podcast, or if you want to become a sponsor of this podcast, make sure you email me at jake@sslshow.com, or you can book me for an upcoming wrestling event at manscoutmanning@yahoo.com. Now, with all that out of the way, buckle in, for this conversation. It really is kind of all over the place. It is a fantastic piece, so just kind of hang on tight, but we do kind of focus and hone everything in towards the middle. And I gotta tell you, when we get locked in together, me and David, and I pull out a lot of personal stuff about my life too. Like, David started asking me some really personal questions, and I gave some answers and some stories that I haven't shared with anybody aloud, to be really quite honest. So Dave's not a bad interviewer. Maybe he needs to get a podcast. But anyways, this conversation is fantastic, and I can't wait to bring it to you. This is a conversation with David French here on Stranger in a Southern Land. I'm always looking to expand my list of people I have on podcasts and stuff like that, and the people that I talk to and stuff like that. So I always do just random like Google searches, like Charlotte music, Charlotte whatever, and like I just searched Charlotte artist, and you were the first thing that popped up, and there were several links of you as if there are no other artists in Charlotte. So I just wanted to give you that piece of information that you were. When people look up Charlotte art, you're the guy to talk to. So obviously, I feel very honored that I was able to talk to you. But at the same time, too, I think that's maybe indicative of your work.
The funny, I guess it's because I do Charlotte art. Yeah. So therefore, if you look up David French art, you often get Jacques Louis David with his French paintings and Death of Marat and all that kind of stuff. So it's your proper search term. Charlotte art definitely directs. Right at my 270, I've kind of lost count. I'm probably between 250 and over 300, and probably closer to 300 paintings of Charlotte. 270, 280, give or take.
Well, as artists, why Charlotte? There's all kinds of things you could do, but why this city?
Oh, there's an old phrase, old saying, or I don't know, this has no attribution, but the medium creates the artist. And I believe it. I feel very lucky, very blessed to be where I am, and I think the series of events that is my life have led me here and have given me the gift to be able to do this for a living, to create Charlotte paintings and make people happy. I've lived in Charlotte for a long time. I've lived in galleries and studios. I've always been searching for what the public wants. I've always tried to be the fly on the wall, asking people to try to figure things out. What does the art buying world want? It's a really tough question, but that's what I really try to focus on. I think a lot of artists try to focus on what they want to do, and that's, if they can do it, more power to them. But I've really tried to paint what people wanted. I've had the blessing of I tried to retrograde my education back in 2006 and finish up my associate's degree at CPCC. Great institution. Anybody thinking about it, please go there. Wonderful place. I tried to retrograde my education, get my associate's degree. I had to take Design 1. My Design 1 teacher said, after about a month of class, go do what you want and turn it in. And I walked the campus at CPCC in October-ish of 2006 and found the Athens restaurant on the backside and realized this place is closing. This is what I should be painting. People love Athens. So I painted live on site on a hollow door, a 6.5-foot wide, 3-foot tall painting of Athens, the old 24-hour dive diners. If you don't know what it is, anybody out there, it's bikers in suits at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was the lady smoking her cigarette, going, "What do you want?" And
it's right next to the hospital there, and right around the corner from the university.
Boston cream pies floating in the display case. Old Greek family style, classic Charlotte diner. I painted a painting of it, and it spiraled outward into the 200 and whatever paintings of Charlotte. I painted at Anderson's, and halfway through Anderson's, a guy that owns a $1 billion investment firm in town, Frank Bragg, found me and was all about, he was like, "I want these paintings, and I haven't finished it yet." He goes, "I don't care, I want it." And he said, "What are you painting next?" I said, "The coffee cup." "Great. Okay, I want it." I said, "Well, can I paint it first? I'll give you first dibs." Perfect. He bought all 3 of those, then asked me to paint a skyline. And here it is, actually 10 years later, if you can believe it.
Yeah, but the thing is, probably when you drew the skyline, it's completely different than it was right now.
The first skyline I painted is almost fully irreverent. I don't sell any of them. Totally irreverent. And they blew up buildings while I painted it. It was 2 weeks in the spring. I mean, I'm sorry, the pre-spring, the winter, the January, February of 2007, and it was actually where home plate is for the Charlotte Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Molly, come here. I'd like to introduce my wife to the viewing audience out there. Could you come say hi, please? So
as she runs away.
she's coming in the air door.
Oh,
so I painted my first skyline where home plate is at Knight Stadium. I'm going to say hi to my wife, and then I want to finish the story because it's a really good one.
Okay, please.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Jake. Pleasure to meet
Pleasure
you.
to meet you.
Molly's also an artist. One day we hope her work will be hanging in the booth with mine at these shows soon. So if you come see me next year, you never know. Look for a nice collage in the place.
Thank you.
Look forward to that.
Okay, first skyline, January, February 2007. Home plate of where Knight Stadium is now. Nothing but a big, dirty, grassy field that was there. And I would pull my old little red pickup truck up in the field, and I painted this 7 foot wide. I would set on the back of my tailgate. Set on the back of my tailgate, and I would paint this 7 foot wide. It took me weeks of afternoons. Weeks and weeks of afternoons, if that makes sense. And totally, they blew up the first Duke building while I painted it. Like one day they're taking panels off, and I'm going, I guess I just need to finish that building first. The next day, boom. Also got mugged while I was painting it. Had a guy come down.
Because artists have so much money.
Well, he was just a drunk idiot. He was just came down.
Okay.
Oh, I want to touch your painting. You can't touch my painting. You have to stand behind this line. You cannot touch my painting. I'm gonna touch your painting. No. And I went and set him down on the ground up on top of the hill, and then he came back down, and then he took a sucker punch at me. And this trucker guy got out of his truck that was parked in the field and ran over and threw a knee in the guy's back while I called the cops. It was funny too, because I was holding him down on the ground, and this guy, he wanted to touch my painting really bad. He had just gotten out of jail. He a little drunk already, hour out of jail. The cop literally told me, "Oh, he just got let out."
Oh, jeez.
The painting turned out really nice, but it is totally outdated. I don't even sell them anymore. I mean, I give them away occasionally just because. And since then, I probably painted 40 other skylines of Charlotte. I don't know if you guys can see. This is one of my newest one, the Train Yard.
Yeah.
And to give you some perspective on it, that original, this is a mounted print. That original was 8 feet wide. 5 Points Realty here in the Noda area commissioned it. It took me about 100 hours to paint.
Yeah, and I see that every time I go to Noda, it's presented right in the front, and you can see it right from the street. Like as you drive by, you can even see it through their window and stuff like that. Like it hangs right there.
Oh,
in
the
front.
5 Points Realty. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of their way of saying, you moved here, this is your new skyline. It's huge. It's just nice. They really work with me. I really have been enjoying the ability to work with and pick a little more who I want to do commissions for lately, things that help my Charlotte series and things that push the many dynamics and directions in my Charlotte series. Would you like a silly story? This is all
No,
serious.
that's what
Would
this
you
is
hand me
for.
that piece right there behind you? Because
This
yes,
right here?
sir.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to tell you guys a silly story. This is way too serious of a podcast, so we have to lighten up here.
Yeah.
For those out there who aren't watching, maybe you can pull up my Yoda and Noda Monopoly painting on my website while you're listening to this, davidfrenchoriginals.com. But okay, so Darth Vader over here, he keeps rolling double sixes. It's really ticking Chewbacca off. He's screaming, "I know you're cheating. I know you're using the Force. Why do I keep landing on freeze, lose 3 turns?" But don't worry, folks, because Yoda already has Noda. And you see, right now he's using the Force to move his piece. Is he going to land on Central Avenue with the Death Star tax, or maybe he's going to pay Yoda, or maybe he'll collect 200. You may.
I love it. It's great.
I hope I get to do a lot more less serious stuff in the future. I have a comic book, crazy psychedelic North 28205 North Charlotte, East Charlotte kind of collage of all the animals from the various businesses coming to life. The Penguins, the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
okay.
I painted that painting before all that went down too. Before the Penguin got its whole bad reputation, and it came to life. I'm afraid I painted it, and it came to life. The Penguin became the Dark Knight after I painted it. You think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I promise.
No, I like all this. This is fun. So it seems like everything is interweaved throughout Charlotte, even this comic book idea and all that stuff.
Yeah. The comic's fun. Here's one of the main scenes from the comic. This is when the light pole gets struck by lightning in Noda, and the Salvador Dali's elephants burst out of the Salvador Deli, and the whole neighborhood starts melting down. Even the sweet gay couple that bought the original, they're in a bar fight over here, punching each other out, and beer slinging across the room.
That's so sweet right there.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's really kept them together.
Yeah.
It's been the gluey paint that's held the relationship strong. I've had a couples who told me that my painting has kept them together because they couldn't stand not to be in the painting anymore together in the same house or something like that. Doesn't always work though. Doesn't always work.
Well, I'll tell you, this one right here, like I bought the reprint of this one, the Train Yard one, and that was like big for me because my girlfriend goes on assignment, and so she leaves like 2 weeks out of every 2 weeks she's on the road. She's gonna be gone for a month pretty soon, and she was gone for 2 weeks, and I wanted to surprise her. I bought that at the Beer Barbecue and Bourbon Festival at Symphony Park and hung that on our wall because we have red walls, so it complemented it just perfectly. And she'd wanted a skyline thing, but she wanted to get one of those like photo fabrications, and I saw this. I'm like, no, I'd rather get something that's like artistic and it's done. And the fact that you were local was just even better, and that like hung it over, and I got big brownie points for that. So awesome. I can't thank you for enough for that.
I hope she bakes you some biscuits in the morning or something good like that. Maybe brought you some salted honey home.
More like cupcakes at night. You know, like the one time where I shouldn't be eating cupcakes, like at 1 a.m. at night.
With maple and brown sugar and bacon on top.
Oh, yeah. She's that type of girl that would do stuff like that.
That's what's up.
For sure.
Oh, look at my phone's yelling at us. Got to quit that. It's my wife tagging pictures of this podcast. If any of you guys out there want to see what I'm working on, I'm on Facebook. I have 2 accounts. My David French Originals is my business, and then I'm David Thayer French, Thayr. Please friend me so you can see what I do, and hopefully you don't get annoyed with pictures of my little boy on the site too. I run contests. Oh, I wanted to mention this. This is my 10-year anniversary of my Charlotte series. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I mean, like right about now, somewhere right around now, I started it. And I'm gonna run a contest on Facebook in the coming weeks where post me your wall. Like if I can get 40 or 50 people who will share and tag me on a picture of their wall with my art on it, I'm gonna give away a choice mounted print, whatever somebody wants. I'll do like a random drawing for it. Mm-hmm. I'd like to just say thanks for Charlotte, and I'd like to see what they. I love it when people get 3 or 4. Of course I do. I love it when people buy 10, but they collage them together on the wall. You know, and you get with the black edge and then the mounted prints. Mm-hmm. We should go back to stories. I bet you I have more stories that are better than this. Look at this. I have a list of stories for you folks out there.
Oh, you do? Oh, you did the homework. I just typed in Charlotte Art and you popped up. So you got stories. So what's the first one that you got?
Well, that's the 10-year in the contest. We just covered that.
Okay, we just covered that.
And we were just thinking we should probably talk about NODA in general. I don't know.
Oh, please do. It's
always a hot topic.
Yeah.
A little pressure point with people. I used to live in the company store, the place behind the Smelly Cat, back in the day, about 1999 to 2001, too, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. I lived in a little tiny 2 10-by-10 rooms. I shared a duplex, and we ran an art gallery out of it and an art show in the backyard every first and third Friday for gallery crawls. And it was the most underground kind of, hey, bring your art, hang anything you want from the trees, and gathering chairs off the side of the road for bands that played for us. And there used to be Johnson's Brewery. We'd get their old kegs that were going to be going bad soon because we'd sell all the beer. We wouldn't sell. We put tip jars out because we couldn't sell beer. It was a house. Mm-hmm. And people would come and drink and listen to the music and buy art. And in the summer breezes and the cold winter days, nothing stopped us. We were like mailmen delivering right there in the ice and wind and sleet and hell. Come down the NODA on the first and third Fridays and enjoy your butt. The greatest compliment, if I could ever sum it up in a couple words, was this dude who was probably in his 40s, again, this is 2001, came and sat on one of our couches. He was a brave man. There's couches in the backyard for the bands. There's amazing bands would come and play. Mm-hmm. And he sat there and looked like his eyes were going to fall off his face and his mouth just open. And I went and sat down next to him and said, hey, man, you look like, what's going on? Hey, and he said, dude, I haven't seen anything like this since I lived in Soho growing up in New York. And he said, this is nothing as just, the free art flowing creativity environment. So it was really nice. Mm-hmm. It's rumored that I inspired a generation of kids to be defunct artists.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, but rumors are...
Well, how did that rumor get started?
I heard a rumor.
You heard a rumor?
Mm-hmm. Floating around CPCC.
I believe it. What else we got on this list right
here?
I want to make sure we get all of your topics discussed.
I mean, I'd rather hear your topics. They're probably better.
No, this is you. This is your interview.
Place and time.
You take it over, David. You take it over.
Hey, Mark, will you come say hi to the camera? I'd like to introduce my right-hand man, if he would. We come in this side, if you would, please, sir. Just say hi. Mark's a little bashful, although he likes to alliterate his words. He told me that, I promise. This is my right-hand man. I couldn't get the day through without him right here. I've been very blessed in the last couple of months. He started working for me, and I said, like out loud, I have to find this tipping point where David French Originals is making enough business that I got to keep him full-time employed because I want to keep him because he's such a good worker. And that very day, I said it out loud. My wife heard it. He heard it. I said it out loud. Google Fiber called me.
Oh, wow.
And it's just one in the string. Go ahead. If you're not going to tell a story, get out of here.
He's the one
Okay.
sanding in the background. If anybody can pick it up on the microphone, people are probably wondering what's going on. But yes, he's sanding in the background.
Oh, yeah.
You're keeping him hard at work.
He's
He's not a full-time employee yet, but you got to keep him hard at work.
He pretty much is. He's been working over 4 days a week for me since that day that I said out loud, Dave French Originals really needs to find a tipping point where he's a full-time employee. And he's been averaging nearly 4 or 5 days a week for me since then. And I mean, they've called a couple jobs in. A bunch of people have called whatever jobs in. And I've been a string of really good commissions where I'm trying to get people to do something nicer because everybody wants a bargain, but I don't want to paint you a bargain. I want to paint you the best piece of family heirloom you ever had. And so Dave French Originals has really been blessed. I hope he can keep going. I hope he can keep this business up because I really enjoy him here in the studio. Very positive presence. Yeah. And thank God he's going camping next week because I'm tired of him.
Already. All
Yeah.
the good things, get him out of here.
But that makes me, okay, that should pull back to the best part, and that's the story. I think in everything, if you can pull out a story, people want to hear it. Real story, your story, some life story. Hopefully nobody's turned the podcast off yet because we had some dry spots in there. But we're going to, I think we're going to,
Don't worry. We don't have to compete with Radiolab. We were talking about off mic about your favorite podcast.
Radiolab!
We don't have to compete with Radiolab. We're not doing all that editing. People like to actually sit down and listen to long form conversations. So especially somebody as unique and fascinating as you do.
All right. So let's talk about stories. What I like to do, what I'm dreaming about, what I'm trying to do more and more of these days is create paintings that are telling stories. For the listening audience out there, you're not going to get much out of this.
Yep, I got you. As he reaches over and grabs another
But
painting.
if you can picture the new Ramar Bearden Park with the waterfall and all that uptown, I just painted a new picture of it. This is actually about relatively a full-size print of the painting. It's close to the actual size of the painting. He received this for his wedding gift a couple Saturdays ago. She commissioned the painting. This is where they got engaged. This is the park they got engaged in. They're happily married now. This is them again over here, and this is them again over here. So I got to paint kind of a moment in their life, and bigger than that too, a moment in Charlotte's life and in time, and just an average. I got to try my best to blend their moment, their blissful moment in time, with a second in Charlotte, an instant in Charlotte life, a real looking instant. So therefore, to get back to my favorite part of it, I hope that their grandkids will receive this painting one day. It won't be in the attic. Believe it or not, all us artists out there with these great big egos, most of our paintings are in the attic in 30 years. I'd like to paint some paintings that don't go in the attic ever. That their grandkids are going, oh my God, Grandma and Grandma were young and beautiful once. And can you believe that? And
they're right there.
yeah.
And they're right there.
Yeah. Oh, and here's my wife. I slipped Molly into many of my paintings. She says she's doing the goddess pose. I guess that's just divine intervention. And that's our little boy jumping right there with great trust that he can reach the next block. That's Thayer Amadeus and Molly French right there. A bunch of other random people doing random things on a random day, like every other day. The most photographed place in Charlotte. Stories. How about, can you see the Cabo Fish taco painting up here, folks? Let's bring it down.
Yeah.
Let's bring it down.
Bring it
This
down.
is the very first painting I ever put myself in.
Okay.
Can you guys see that out there? Right there. I know I'm like 4 inches taller and 40 pounds lighter, but that's my attitude, and I can do that. I have the right as an artist.
Listen, you could,
right?
yeah, you have an artistic license
Thank
to do what
you.
you want.
And there's my wife Molly again, my stepdaughter, my little boy is just about 10 months in this one. And Brian was a legend in Noda. Brian passed away by himself an airplane back in 2008 and wrecked it and passed away, but he was an inspiration to many. Professionally trained actor, singer, songwriter, dancer, and certified plumber. He'd come over, he'd fix your house. You guys would have just a party that night at dinner time, it seemed like. That's the kind of guy he was. He worked for a lot of acting companies, dance companies. He often, because they're such little whiny brats, he was the one that usually built the stage for him, even if he was a better dancer or whatever than the rest of them. Ain't nobody else going to build that stage out there. They're, I'm a dancer.
Yeah. I have that same problem with pro wrestling. I always have to set up the ring, and people are like, "Oh, I'm a main event wrestler." I'm like, well, I'm also in the main event too, but I got to set up this ring.
They need more makeup time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always.
Brian used to cruise around in his blue bus. You might see it around the hood because a friend of the family bought it and still has it in the neighborhood a lot. The old, like 1980 blue bus there. Brian worked on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Brian worked on down here in the Patriot. He was a wrangler and got it. I think he only had 2 spots in the movie where he was like drug, like a dead body being drugged across the screen. He's a very interesting guy. I can't explain to you how he was just wild and would take the moment a little higher as best he could. Push the limits. Push the limits.
It seems like there's like a lot of like characters, like a Noda or just even the Charlotte area. You know what I'm saying?
There's been a lot of characters.
I mean, he's
in
like
Noda.
some of like Funky Geezer and stuff like that. I've talked to him on the podcast, but there's always like seems like there's just these unique individuals that are doing something artistically, but then also like you said, they're also like a certified plumber. You know what I'm saying?
You know, Paul Cyrus got heavily into the political field this year. One of the founders of Noda.
Yeah.
And I think the politics let him down like halfway through this year, and he gave up political post. He was like every day.
Politics crushed a man that wanted to do something good? No, I don't believe you.
He still posts very positive messages, but it was wild to see it go from he was full blown politically oriented to like these people that are reporting BS. I refuse to party with them. Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can find some more stories. I got a box full of stories.
Well, exactly. Got a box full of paintings right here.
Oh,
Muse.
what's that?
The Muse.
The Muse.
Yes, I almost, that was the other one I almost bought. That's definitely one I'm definitely going to own at some point in my life because I perform at the Find Your Muse just about every Monday. I record
What do you open mic there?
comedy.
Oh yeah.
And then I also do.
I've seen your picture in Noda on the polls.
Yes, I also run a show.
That's what it is.
I also
That's
run a
what-
show. You're not the first person. There's several people that have come up to me recently like, I know you from somewhere. It's probably
You're
from
like
the light
something like
polls.
this.
Yes, with the microphone. Yes,
Yeah.
I run a show there once a
I've
month.
seen you on polls everywhere.
It all comes together.
There's Joe. Joe owns the Muse.
Yes.
Joe's a good feller, keeping the positive vibes flowing. If I had a message for the world, if this was pre-1900, our story would have to have morals. It would have to have a message. This podcast would have to just sum it up in a concise little packet. It's because that's the way writing used to be.
Yeah.
And my moral for you would be keep your neighborhood close and your friends closer, and keep Starbucks out of your daily walk. Something like that. I know that's very. I've really enjoyed Noda and getting to know people and businesses that are ran by the owners, created by the owners. Businesses that are, you might walk in any day and the man who built that wall in there is the one ringing you up at the counter and fully enthusiastic about what he does. Joe's a prime example. If anybody doesn't know out there, you can look up Joel Kuhlman, The Evening Muse. He does a lot of podcasts and such. He's also a music producer of sorts. And like Jake right here was saying, on Monday nights it's open mic. If you have a talent, if you play guitar, the mouth harp, or you can slap your knees real good, they'll have you. You might have to wait a few hours to get on stage, but by then you'll have just enough alcohol in you to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, but also big supporter of just even like local comedy. Like we're like there's a lot of smaller stages that are closing. I think like Upstage is closing. We lost Tremont, Chop Shop, like
Amos's,
yeah,
Double Door.
Yeah, we're losing all these places, and like Joe really opened his door and wanted to have one night that was solely dedicated to comedy, and like what I get for the building.
Really? Monday nights is just comedy now and there?
No. He gives me a once a night, like once a month somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was part of the problem is we have so many comedians come in on Monday nights, but they wanted to make it more about the artist, which is completely fine. So then to offset that, as opposed to like, hey, comedians can't come in anymore, he just gave us one whole like night for us to just do our comedy thing.
Cool.
So I just did one this past Saturday. I'm doing another one election night.
How can we get that out? You need to blast it on the Noda Next Door group, and you'd get an extra 40 people out.
Okay.
The Noda Next Door like local group.
I will definitely blast it out.
Because I never even heard. I bet you we'd go to it.
Yeah, we will.
We've been to the Comedy Zone 3 times in the last 3 years.
Yeah, but
Have half a stand-up skit.
I dream. I have opening lines. All I have. Hey, you guys like Christmas? Oh yeah, me too. Christmas was awesome in my house growing up. My mom's a kleptomaniac. Oh yeah, that's what I said.
There you go.
That's all I got for now.
That's all you got for that.
She's a really clever thief, though. You know, the day that she stole some stuff and we got taken up on top, and I get to look down on the department store of all the hidden cameras. That was a very interesting day. Figuring out, oh, what's everybody doing over there? They can see everything, can't they?
But no, yeah, like a supporter of local art and stuff like that.
Jake, have you ever walked out of a restaurant without paying the tab?
No, I have not.
That's the kind of person my mother is. She would do it. She'd be like, I didn't get my food in time. Let's go.
So you had an interesting childhood, is what you're saying.
I think we all did, I'm sure.
Yeah.
100% original lives growing up here in the United States of America, the variety we are. My God.
No, did you grow up here?
I grew up in West Virginia.
West Virginia. Okay.
That's,
I won't hold that against you.
For you listeners out there, that is a state. It's like the 43rd state or something in the nation. We're up there north of Virginia and a little west as well.
Mm-hmm. Hence West Virginia.
Yep. We might be the worst economy, but our meth numbers are really growing.
We got to be good at something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to be good at something, and they pick that out.
It's a growing business too. You know, it's faster than coal is for sure. And
Yeah, for sure. There's probably more future in it than coal, to be really quite honest.
But I moved down here when I was 18. I call it the end of the mass migration from West Virginia that came down. I don't know if you knew that, but they were so desperate for work here in Charlotte in the 80s and such that they would advertise in West Virginia for employees because $10 an hour down here was like an average wage, and up there it was like gold.
Oh yeah.
$10 an hour, okay. I can dig your trench, sir. All right, stories.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I didn't say about the Muse, and this is my great thing here, is this couple, they own the original painting. It's big, and they're forever walking their dog to the Muse.
Yeah.
There's my wife hanging out in the shadows. Watch out, everybody. Hanging out in the shadows. Here's a good one. Here's my buddy George Cole, Frisbee golf painting. This is a trophy I did for the tournament last year. You can see Clash in the roots. You probably can't, but nonetheless, it says Clash. Here he is putting. George is a horrible disc golfer. I hope he's listening to this too. He's terrible, but I got to immortalize him in a trophy that people won. There was like mounted prints, and the winner got the original painting, and it said the Carolina Clash champion and all that kind of stuff. Big disc golfer. If you guys are out there,
Well, let's talk about that passion for disc golf, and we'll come back to these stories.
All right.
You said you listen to like a disc golf podcast. Like, where does this passion for you and you loving disc golf?
For those of you out there who don't know, disc
Yeah.
golf is Frisbee golf. It's
Yeah.
played just like golf, but you throw discs like a Frisbee, but a little different, into baskets. And they're metal chains. Look it up, disc golf, and look at the images. And then you play like golf. Charlotte is Mecca. There are a few places in the world that can even begin to try to say they rival Charlotte in the disc golf density and amazingness. Charlotte has 40 courses within 45 minutes, maybe an hour of where you're standing,
Really?
and 20 within 20 minutes of where you're
I
standing.
was completely unaware that this is the mecca of disc golf.
We have the U.S. Disc Golf Championships every year in Rock Hill because that's where Innova East is. Innova is the number one manufacturer of disc golf, like a 75% share of the market, something like that. And their
Really?
East Coast plant is in Rock Hill. And right now, this week, the U.S. Disc Golf Championships is going on. One of my best friends in the world is a former world champion. Best friends in the world. I wish I could call one of my best friends, but he sure is a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's competing this week. He's made a comeback, too. I taught him a little bit about how to paint about 7 years ago, and he took it on tour with him. Now he makes more money than winners of the tournament selling his paintings at the disc golf events across the nation. And then he wins some money, too, because he won a big event this year, won $5,000 at one event. But
Really, there's money in disc golf?
oh, yeah. The winner of the U.S. Disc Golf Championships typically is closer to $10,000. It's one of the bigger money events. They'll be paying out $1,000 for 25th place, probably.
Completely unaware of this world.
It's actually grown exponentially a lot in the last few years too. The live, going live, like people going live on Facebook. We should be going live right now. We should. No, let's not go live. Okay, we could go live if you want to, but this would get boring. Do you want to hear about disc golf? These people out here don't. Let's talk about something better.
Well, if we're in the bet, like,
What's your favorite restaurant in Charlotte?
Oh, you're the
2002 amateur world champion. That's the chum in the pro waters, but nonetheless, I was once the best amateur around.
Well, like I said, I'm completely unaware of this. I feel like I know kind of what everything is going on in Charlotte, but if you're telling me that we're the mecca of disc golf,
Arguably the mecca of disc golf. Michigan's got about 30 courses within a 1 hour radius too, and they're pretty. They could argue they have a little bit higher quality, but then their lower quality courses aren't near as good as our just like average course. Our average course is better than most courses.
But where's your favorite place to play? Like, if people are interested in play, where do you recommend them to go in town?
If you're not very good, you should go to Reedy Creek or Bailey, or go down to Elon, down towards Ballantyne area. Not quite that far out. Way out Providence Road. That has a really nice short test. 2 courses, one nasty, horrible course, and one really easy course that's fun. There's courses all around. Use pdga.com. There's a course directory, or just Google your area town and disc golf course. Eastway Park's got a good one if you want to practice your long drives. I live within 7 minutes of 3 disc golf courses. Mm-hmm. It's Sugar Creek, Eastway, and Kilbourne. Kilbourne is a lovely way to be in the woods in the middle of the city. You're in the middle of city, and then here you are in the middle of some woods. And that's half the fun of the game to me. It's just like getting out there with my buddies and being away from all the hustle and bustle. All this terrible painting out here. Oh, God, I can't take all the painting.
Yes, the hustle and bustle that you got going on here in your home.
You dig a Chinese buffet?
You darn right I do.
Yeah, you're a real man.
Darn right I do.
Uh-huh.
And plus I love a good bargain.
Ooh.
You know? And I'm a big eater too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I like notoriously like buffets lose money on me. So because I'm in it to win it.
You go for the sushi hard, huh?
Oh yeah,
Make
for
'em
sure.
pay. Give me sashimi.
Oh, that's the thing too. Is I was like, okay, what's the most expensive thing? And I was always under the impression it's not about how much food you eat; it's about how much food you mess up. That's what I know about buffets. So.
I love them. So I got an article come out in Charlotte Happenings. They're doing a little article on me next month.
Mm-hmm.
You guys out there pick up the episode, and you can find my favorite Chinese buffet dish in all the whole city.
Now, what is it?
I refuse. You got to pick up the Charlotte Happening magazine.
Okay.
I don't even know where to get those.
Okay.
Okay. They might be fake. It might be the IRS.
No.
secretly auditing me.
I've seen it. I've picked it up before. It's in like all the major grocery stores.
Oh, cool. All right.
It's
While you're shopping, take
Yeah.
a moment and check out my favorite dish from the Chinese buffet.
okay.
Oh, should we go back to the list? Let's
Listen,
see if we got good
we
stories.
got to cover your list. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure you get everything out that you want out.
Festivals. You guys make sure you come to all the good art festivals in town. We've had some low attendance for some various reasons in the last couple. One like Festival in the Park's amazing event. If any of you out there listening, and maybe you're in the future, maybe because this is now and everyone listening will never be now. If you're in the September region of 2017 or beyond, Festival in the Park's the best festival you'll go to all year long, unless you're just looking for some like deadhead fish kind of thing. This is an art festival. And it's at Freedom Park, 180 artists they had this year. Festival in the Park is the biggest, oldest art festival in the Carolinas. It is a Charlotte tradition. I always say it is the most Charlotte thing you can do. The most Charlotte thing that you can do all year long. 180 artists, most of them local, 40 food options, 3 music stages, 2 kids stages, a carnival, pony rides. They even bring a donkey if you guys are into burros, you know. Mm-hmm. You can ride the burro. Festivals are awesome all year long. Really keeps my family afloat too. We do about 15 big festivals a year, and that is our bread and butter on top of our icing, on top of our cake of thank you, Charlotte, for your support. Mm-hmm. You ever wonder who you would be if you weren't you? If every single thing in your life just like one little pin fell out at some point, would you be a completely different person? Would you have ever fell into professional wrestling if you hadn't got that gig as the underwear model when you were 8?
Well, that's not exactly how I broke in. I know some people have broken that way, but yes, it's something that I think about. And actually, a funny story about that, if we're going to share stories and stuff like that.
Yes, please.
Is I was in Springfield. I was with a girl. I was actually engaged, but then I got a 3-month internship that has now turned into a 12-year residency now.
Is it
No.
Baseball Hall of Fame?
No, 11-year residency now. So
At what? What?
with highspots.com, which is the pro wrestling merchandise website that I work for that it enabled me to do professional wrestling for
Hotspots.com?
highspots.com.
Highspots.com.
Local company here. It's been
Cool.
in existence since, probably like the 2000s and stuff like that. It's been open for quite some time. But yeah, that's how I ended up being here for like 11 years. But the thing is, I always think about that too. It's like, what if I didn't make that choice? What if I stayed and went back with the girl that I was engaged with at the time, which obviously that relationship doesn't exist anymore, you know?
It might in one of the
parallel other parallel universe,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I always think about
She's
too.
probably complaining about something right now. I'm glad you stay with the girl you're with.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the thing is that
Thank
parallel,
God for my wife. Look at that right there. Oh, you guys can't see over there. Good.
it's hard for there for a second. But yeah, it's that idea. Like, and I always said, what would I have done if I still lived in Springfield, Illinois? And it was, I was always like, well, I'd probably be selling cell phones at a kiosk in the mall. So every once in a while, I'll go back to Springfield and I'll take like an hour or two to go to that specific mall and take a picture of the kiosk.
You get behind there. You ask them if you can get behind them. You like.
I don't go that far. I don't want to like put
if
a
you
rip
did,
in
if
the
you
time
got,
continuum.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It would cause like an inward.
Yeah, I don't
flow.
want to. I don't want that life. That's why, and I don't even go on the same level with it. I go on the upper deck and take a picture down. Like I don't even want to be in the same level with it. So like,
I managed a McDonald's when I was 17, or helped manage McDonald's. You know, I still go to McDonald's once every year or two.
yeah,
A good ball pit.
yeah,
I say stay in that ball pit so they throw you out.
exactly.
You know.
Don't try the food though. There's no nutrition there.
I ate some McDonald's the year I was on a road trip, and I swear I got sick. And I was like, really? Surely they zapped every single possible way to make me sick out of that thing.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
And all the flavor too.
Well, and so you'd be working at a kiosk,
In
but
the
you
mall.
probably would have like invented something new and be making $1 million a year off that kiosk, and probably much happier, right? You'd be selling kiosks,
I don't know about that.
you know.
I don't know about that.
Hey, you guys need to buy a cell phone kiosk? I got a $250,000 one here that could make you $600,000 a year. You should buy two.
I might have moved up to insurance salesman, and what would really been worse is I would end up joining like State Farm in like 2009, and then all of a sudden the Jake from State Farm commercials come out, and then oh gosh, how
Oh, you
awful
could have
that-
like bench pressed that guy and put a pro move on him, and on that could have been the new commercial.
Well, I
You
might
could
not have
made-
been. I might not be in pro wrestling anymore if I still did that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still in pro wrestling right now. I'm doing like I said, stand up comedy and podcasts. I'm in control of my own destiny. You know, I could be working for Joe Schmo Insurance Company if I was still there.
I have a linchpin moment in time. How would I be the same person? I was standing in what was the evening used to be a coffee shop. Before that, it was a used clothing vintage store with a little bit of art in it.
Okay.
1999-ish, 98, 99. Standing there one day, and I had been telling my friend how I'd like to find a professional painter that I could work for free. Can I clean your brushes and hang out with you? And that day, we met a lady in there. We overheard her talking about how she needs an intern. She's got this huge string of murals she has to paint. And my friend was like, you hear what she's saying, right? I'm like, no, what's she saying? I'm like, oh, okay. You know. And she needed, I said, can I work for you for free? I'll hang your canvases and I'll do anything just to watch the process and learn. And she said, you're hired for free. And by the end of the week, she was paying me $10 an hour to work with her. I didn't want the money. I wanted the knowledge because I figured it was 10 times better than school. And it was. It was. I mean, there's a million things you need to learn. But as far as oil painting, learning how to oil paint from a professional. Her name is Star Davis, S-T-A-R-R Davis. Have you ever walked in a Lone Star Steakhouse around or a Fox and Hound anywhere near here? I might have had my hands on it. I might have just been cleaning the brushes that painted it, or I might have like laid down a prime coat on that canvas, or I might have actually painted a horse's face. You never know. I painted some horses' faces that she kept on those murals. You know, or I might be the guy with the pool stick with the goatee, standing by the pool in the Fox and Hound. We worked on 20-some murals together, and it was a really great kickstart. And then she even, when I used to live in that gallery we talked about earlier in Noda behind the Smelly Cat, she introduced me to Paul Cyrus, and because she knew that space was opening up and allowed me to live there, and which continued pressing my art endeavors and so forth.
So without that, what would you be doing?
Life is just a moment in time. I mean, life is just, one moment in time after another. I struggle with it. My little 4.5-year-old just dreamy-eyed looking at him like, oh, my God, can I be 4 for a moment? Can I be 4 for a day? I can through him, but it's all fleeting and gone. And I've been struggling with more than ever, and I don't know if it's because my life gets sweeter and sweeter, and my worries flash away, and then the only worry I have left is just not being able to hold on to everything good. Or maybe I just, have had too many cervezas. It's a little bit.
Well, everybody has that problem.
It's, tacos, $1 tacos Tuesdays down here in the hood. You need to come down with us and take over a big table. Serious today, down at the wonderful little Mexican restaurant. $1 taco Tuesdays. But it's beautiful just to watch my little boy grow up. I reminds me of what life's all worth for living, and it rips me apart all the time. I just wish I could remember every second of my life except for the other half that's horrible. but the good parts, the good half, the great half. You know, we all had junior highs, I guess, in our lives. So can we divorce our junior high and then write it off? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, everybody's got those times in life.
Were you a bad speller growing up?
Awful.
Handwriting?
Yeah, all of it, yes.
Yeah, I
But
think it was
you
our future self reflecting backwards, telling us not to worry about it. You're going to be typing on your phones, and we were like, no. So we still tried to handwrite.
But sometimes I feel like that comes from also too, like at least my problem is I have all these great ideas and I can't push it out through my body fast enough. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, I used to type fast, and now I have never taken the time to type much. But I used to be able to type about as fast as I could think. I didn't mind misspelling at all. I love some Jack Kerouac, but yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I wish I had employees I could channel and stuff that knew exactly what I needed to do.
Yeah, because it's like you get like especially when I write jokes, it's like I have this really great idea, but I have to slow down to put it onto paper. But my mind is already onto the next joke after that, or where I want to be, and where the turn I want to be. So it's like It's like my brain is working faster than my body physically can.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, he's the best. He's great.
I can't think of anything better than him. You know, you would say Bill Cosby. Now he's all wrapped in controversy and possible disgustingness. You know, so.
Yeah, but I enjoyed Mike Birbiglia because I'm a big storyteller, long and then understanding like turns and twists and and making sure you're putting punchlines into longer stories.
I like putting a comedian on my Pandora.
Yeah.
Putting Mitch Hedberg in and see what happens. You know.
What else you got on that list? You're looking at it.
Oh, yeah. I'll do a lot of these things, little TV 5-minute things and newspaper articles and magazines and little podcasty kind of blurby things. And it's always very positive and it's always very, it's very nice. And I'm very, but nobody has anything negative or anything controversial. And I just want to try to see if you could fire something up here because, you know, this should be a little more hard hitting.
Okay.
You know, you should be like, hey, shouldn't you lose some weight? You know, doesn't your family need you longer than, you know, something? Come on.
Why should I be like? I'm not going to be insulting. You welcome me in your home and your studio.
Well, I just think the audience deserves some hard hitting facts.
All right. Well, you want some hard hitting facts? What's your biggest fear?
Oh, that there's no afterlife. That there is afterlife. I fear any of us dying young, any of my immediate friends and family. That my little boy will grow up to be a bad guy. No way. He's awesome. What's your biggest fear, Jake?
What's my biggest fear? Sometimes being irrelevant.
Ooh.
Feeling like the world would have been better without me.
Ooh.
I'd probably have to say that would be my biggest fear.
Snap. Audience, we need some feedback. If you're listening, would you put some positive comments in the link below this podcast, okay? And let's make that relative. Share this podcast. Get it out to all your best friends and their best friends, all right? Let's share. Everybody share. Sharing podcasts or caring podcasts. Wouldn't you believe?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, we're almost out of topics. Whoa. Oh, we could bring up my friend Brad Tucker. He's
Please
really
do.
making some interesting art these days. He's chrome plating antler attached skateboards. He's attaching, and I might just be a pour, like a smelting, and then he's chrome plating he sold one to a big gallery in New York, and now he's feeling relevant. He talks a lot about people calling him mediocre, though. Yeah, he likes to complain about people complaining about him.
Yeah, but do you feel like that's like he should feel like that, or like you as an artist? Like I'm sure there are days where you feel like I'm a fraud and people know it, and there's probably days where you're like I am the best artist in the world. Like how do you deal with those mood swings?
I don't think I ever feel like I'm the best artist in the world, but I do feel energized after a festival season. Like people still care and they want it, and that's great. I do feel like I'm very robotical in all my artistic endeavors. And if I was the best artist in the world, I'd be painting dreamy, silly, fun things constantly that every moment of my painting endeavor is enjoyment and people are buying it by the masses. But instead, I hunch over and paint windows inside of windows and grids inside of grids and give myself neck aches from hunched overness and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to make people happy, and that's not a complaint because I live a very blessed life, and I'd like to reiterate that and focus on how humbling it can be to think about how much has come together to let me live this life. All the support and all the directions and all the people that I had a delusional moment the other night. I was working a 16, 18-hour day festival in the park and got home and had to restock my bins, my print bins, so I had to count and check them out. And it's like midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I'm just flipping through these images because I'm on my checklist. Okay, let's do this, 150 checks. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed looking at the pictures at 1 o'clock in the morning because I was like, oh, look at all my pretty pictures of Charlotte. I bet you people really like this. Mm-hmm. It wasn't work for a minute. It was just for a second. Because it's so grinding just to work and work and work. And do I want to look at my own stuff? No, go away. Let's go play Frisbee golf. Let's go eat some dollar tacos. Go away, work. Mm-hmm. But it was nice. Just for a moment, at 1 o'clock in the morning, I could put all that aside and think, oh, this painting of pinkies is really pretty. I bet you people like that on their wall. It makes them think about playing a pinball game while they're waiting for their table. You like pinball games?
Yeah, I do.
Abari? You been to Abari?
Not yet. I was driving by the day.
14 of the best pinball games in the world in there.
I was driving by the day, and I need to find some time, but that's like finding time to do something that I like to do is the biggest obstacle in my life.
Why don't you ask the owner if you can do a podcast about him? People are big time in the pinball, and he invested his entire retirement into that place and could probably tell you a million stories about the gaming industry and how it's changed a lot.
I would love to do that.
And he'd probably love the press, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Get people into his...
I would just love to walk into that building. I have not had time to just walk in there and enjoy myself. Like, I drive by there all the time, like as I'm going to shows or doing whatever, recording podcasts.
Up and down Davison Street.
Yeah, and I see it all the time. I'm like, one day I'm going to walk in here and I'm actually going to have fun, you know. But
I dare you.
Yeah.
They let kids in on Saturday and Sundays, just to warn you.
That'd be fine.
Be my little boy. I'll go over and play the pinball game while he's pretending to play it and stuff. We love it. Love it. Destroy the castle. Destroy the castle.
Yeah, our arcade games taught us a really valuable lesson, you know. If you just have enough quarters, you can win at anything. So,
you know any good Helen Keller jokes?
I don't.
No, it's terrible. Terrible. Those are the worst ones in the whole world. I can't even tell them. I was going to say them, but I can't. They're the worst. They're horrible, horrible, horrible jokes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why did Helen Keller's dog run away?
I don't know.
You'd run away too if your name was Yeah. Sorry, audience. It's his fault. It's Jake's fault for being a comedian.
Yeah, it's okay. I set myself up for it.
Oh man, Jake, what's our timeline? Should we tell?
We're pretty close. So what do you got left on your list that you want to get at? If there isn't anything left, I've got like just maybe one or two things.
Oh, if you guys are running around Charlotte, you can stop in Paper Skyscraper to see my work, Green with Envy to see my work, and Ruby's Gift to Noda. They all have really great selections. I really appreciate the way they show me off and represent me. Paper Skyscraper is about the busiest store in Charlotte. If you've never been in there, it's a blast. They have a lot of interesting things in there to look at. You can fill an hour of your day and walk out smiling. All those stores are great, though.
Okay. Well, I basically here's the hard hitting question.
Oh, good. The controversy is coming.
This right here. This is the sole reason I do this podcast, and I basically everything we did before was just to loosen you up to get to this one point because I just usually have just one question usually to ask. You know, most of the time when I sit down with people. Ooh. And I sit down with people from all walks of life, all varying degrees of, successes and places in their careers and places in their life, and different people. Like we were talking before, like, Humpy Wheeler, Jeff Jackson, politicians, comedians, pro wrestlers, artists, whoever. And I get them down and I have them give up an hour worth of their time in their busy days. And I just solely want to, ask this question at the end of it. And it is the question and the topic of success. What does it mean to you? Do you know what it is? Do you have it clearly defined in your mind? Does it have a dollar amount attached to it? Is it something that you chase every day? Is it something in the back of your mind, in the front of your mind? Is it something you obsess over? Like when I say the word success, what pops in your head?
Well, I like to tell a good story, so...
Do it.
I was once beat down by gunpoint in a park playing disc golf at midnight in a place in town I shouldn't be at. Thought I was going to die. Quit my job the next day. Started waiting tables playing more disc golf, and painting a lot more. I promised myself that I would find fun in every single day of my life after that. I promised myself I would not go hard nosed to the grindstone, not allow myself to go a day without enjoying myself somehow, somewhere. I don't know what it was, but something I would do. And I think success number one is happiness. And if you want to go by the numbers and the scientific research, because everybody does when you're looking at happiness, of course, the happiest people in the world are people who have the broadest, diverse, and accessible group of friends. And that's by the scientific numbers. I really do have a big, broad group of friends, and it thinks it makes my life enjoyable to think I could call up any one of 20 friends at any time and talk to them about their days and how different they are. You know, from bald-headed Indian guys that grew up in Hickory to fat old conservatives that listen to Rush Limbaugh every day, to hippie liberals that are marching uptown right now and getting arrested in the protest riots for doing nothing, according to their Facebook posts. They got arrested, and just to know that I can see them and interact with them and talk and learn about their lives and get a piece of their life and share with them, I think is what makes me the happiest. I mean, looking at my little 4-year-old boy say, "Good morning, Daddy," you know, I to come home to my wife smiling at me every day. There's not much more satisfaction than everybody's happy. So, but you're not talking about satisfaction. You were talking about success, and of course, we all have that number that you'll have enough money one day to retire in our dreams, to not have to work. I'd like to dream that my employee could take over the business, the guy we introduced earlier, and maybe I can only make half as much if he ran the whole business by himself, and I just quit. We can go live on a deserted island with 12 disc golf courses and organic fruits and vegetables and free-range cattle. You know? No, I don't like that.
I was just saying, is that even you? Like, is your idea of like
people
retiring would just be painting more art, but having less pressure behind it?
Oh man, I don't know about painting more. Painting, sure, yes. Just getting to enjoy my life more. As much time, everything. I don't know. I would like to expand and take over the vision, not take over, but share the consciousness of 10,000 people so I could experience more of this world. That would be success. If I could just lose my brain and understand all of mankind, that'd be awesome, or at least the good part of it. You know, the happiest people around me. That would be successful. But yeah, painting, if I could just keep on painting, if my life keeps on being good, then I'll be very successful. If this roof never caves in, if my house never blows away, if my little boy grows up strong and healthy and a nice guy, if my wife keeps on loving me, that'll be very, very all successes. Very much successes. If you get rich and famous and you come back and you commission my first $20,000 painting, that'll be very successful.
Okay. Well, obviously I got some work ahead of me. For the both of us, no pressure, you know.
Life's just a moment in time. You never know. You might be standing in that coffee shop and overhear somebody say, "Man, if only I could find a professional wrestler that does a podcast about people's lives and what they do. Then I'm sure we can make $1 million."
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's what.
Sure.
But life, and that's something that I learned with my career too. Is that life is full of those moments. You know, and is that frustrating to you, or is it kind of sublime to you in the sense that it'll just kind of happen if you're just kind of being engaged in this world and doing your thing? That
I've always thought I'd be a good rapper. You think maybe one day somebody will come through and be like,
well,
"Hey, I want to."
You're not working towards being a rapper right now, are you? Maybe
in my sleep at night, I think I walk down the streets I grew up on, and I'm like, I saw white boys rapping in the streets of Asheville once. It was kind of like in a group. It was
if there was any place where white boys would be rapping in the street, it would be Asheville.
I think one of them went, you know, that thing. Yeah.
But no, like is that like a comforting thought that it'll be what it's going to be, like letting just the universe kind of take over as long as you're being engaged in it?
I'd like to have some proof and confidence that in the afterlife I get to see all my friends again. Okay. Because I know some of them are going to hell according to the Bible, okay? You know, but we don't have to believe that.
Yeah, we don't.
They're probably up there playing field hockey with the rest of us in the clouds.
Is it clouds the what you
Heavenly
think?
clouds?
Yeah, is that what you feel like it is, or is it like a level of consciousness? Like,
I always thought it had something to do like a lazy river, like a John Miro painting, lady flying backwards on her back through the sky, just absorbing. Oh, when my best friend Brian, we talked about earlier, passed away, I envisioned in a weird way, I'm not going to try to get into it, but that his dream of flying and his reward from God or whoever was that he got to be the eyes of 10,000 insects, so he could really see what the whole of the eastern U.S. at least is like. So he
Yeah.
could spread out and envelop all and understand. I thought this was really neat. I often have struggles in my heart when we drive across a state or cross country and think about all the things there are out there to know and see, and how little we'll experience on an individual level, and that every town you drive by is full of 8 million stories of their own, and we'll probably never touch one of them from any one of those people. And there's a lot of amazingness out there in this world. Anybody out there listening, if you're one of those rightists right now that think things are bad, forget about it. I know too many good. I know way too many good.
that's true. Well, David, we've come to the end here. We've done almost a solid hour. And
Yeah.
it
Anybody
really
out there still listening, wake up and turn your podcast off. Okay.
I don't think anybody's falling asleep, David. Like I'm telling you, this just flew right by. This conversation was an absolute and utter delight. I had absolute no doubt it would be. You know?
If you could get a painting from me, if you could commission your own painting, what painting would it be? With you and your loved one floating through the sky above Charlotte on your backs, like, or maybe levitating like yogis.
You know what's really weird about me, and this, and I've said this before on different programs, and people ask me about this, and my phone is full of these type of pictures. And I've said this before, that there is, other than maybe my girlfriend, there is nothing sexier than an empty arena with a wrestling ring in it.
Ooh.
Because it's just so like no fans, nothing, just the ring with the light on it. Like there's nothing more attractive than that.
Like an unlit cigar or a bottle of Jack Daniels that hasn't been opened yet.
Yeah, it's just the idea of it just being empty and there's a ring there. There's no wrestlers in there. It's just the idea of it just being so pristine, because it really truly is the star of the show, and everybody knows exactly what's going to happen there, and it just. That to me is what I like. And my phone is full of just pictures of just empty arenas with wrestling rings in it. And it's just, there's nothing more
I think
fantastic than
one
that.
day when you're rich and famous, I want you to commission me and you wrestling over a Chinese buffet on an empty ring, and the food items are filled with Charlotte restaurants and taverns and breweries. You know, like you look down, you're not getting Kung Pao chicken, you're getting you're pulling the bricks off Cabo Fish Taco.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're somehow wrestling. Maybe we have 3 or 4 of ourselves, doppelgangers, that are attacking each other.
And maybe everyone in the front row has masks on, like lucha masks on, you know.
Including the server who's bringing us our water.
Exactly. Yeah. Or maybe the server's Andre the Giant. Yeah, maybe that.
I gave my best friend a homemade Andre the Giant bootleg shirt last year for Christmas. Pulled it off his old card. Put Doak #1 on the back and the big Andre the Giant pile-up card. Remember the old pile-up card from the 80s? Where he's like, it's one of the old wrestling cards.
Oh, okay. Yes. I know
Yeah,
which one
I
you're talking about.
bootlegged that and Vista printed it on a shirt for him.
Well, David, I'm going to let you get back to work, and I can't thank you enough for sitting down and talking to me today. This has been fantastic. Is there anything that you want to let people know about how they can get in touch with you, your paintings,
thank
what
you.
you're going to be going on?
That-
Please, this is
uh,
open platform, open my
DavidFrenchOriginals.com. That DavidFrenchOriginals, plural.com. David Thayer French on Facebook, or you can do David French Originals on Facebook. Instagram, I think it's like David French Art. I'm also on Twitter. I Twitter like 4 or 6 times a year about shows and stuff. Come to any of the festivals. I'll be at the Old Mecklenburg Brewery in December this year for the first 3 weekends for their Christmas show. You can also come to my studio. That's where we are right now with all these things on the shelves. If you want to get something from me, email me, DaveFrenchOriginals@gmail.com, or shoot me a text or something. All that's on my website, DaveFrenchOriginals.com, and you can stop by, pick up something from my studio. I'll see you at Dollar Tacos, everybody. Who loves a taco? No, you don't love a taco?
I love a taco.
Okay, Chinese buffet for life.
Thank you very much, David.
Cheers.